Control gauges. Control gauges consist of a plate with a root that is used to verify if a pipe is bent below required design. Coordinates X, Y and Z, or length, radius and angle. There are many kinds of gauge controls with different shapes, with moving element motion or static, with or without detectors. Work cell, handler, grooving, deburring. The work cell studied is provided with automatic loader of parts. Once all the manufacturing operations in the tube are done, the parts fall down in the automatic unloader. In this way, the operator only has to load the hopper to give the set-off and empty the drawer with the finished parts. In the first step, the loader proceeds to insert a tube into the first machine, the extractor. Subsequently, the feeder or manipulator has to pick up a modified tube from the expander using one arm. Once it is grasped, the arm rotates and places it in a new position, where it is collected by a hook that puts it in a second machine, the router, where another operation is performed. Then the tube is picked up again in the hook to be reinserted into the third machine, deburring, to be modified again. Finally, another hook moves the finished parts to their final position to be inserted in the drawer. Loader expander. The machine under study performs the function of loading tube and flaring. The loader is provided with manual loader of parts in the hopper, and this one automatically loads the flaring machine. Once the pipe is modified, the automatic unload is done. In this way, the operator only has to fill the hopper with the pipes and empty the drawer with the finished pieces. In the first step, the machine takes a tube from the hopper and separates it from the other ones, elevates it, and brings it into the pickup position. Once the tube is separated, the hooks take it and the arm rotates 180 degrees. Then the cart turns in a new direction. The platform and arm move to the position of the expander, which performs the modification of the tube. Once the tube is finished, the platform and arm go back to the previous position to give back the finished tube to its collection box. Deburring machine. This production machine performs the function of deburring pipes. When the operator inserts a pipe for deburring operation, an inductive sensor checks the presence of the pipe and a sensor signals to close the jaw and start the deburring cycle. In the case of manual mode, after the closure of the jaw, the machine is waiting for the operator control in order to manufacture in a step-by-step process. Power bender. To make these curves in the tube, the machine has some cylinders. These cylinders are responsible for pushing the tube to make the desired curves through some pulleys or pushers at the end of the stem. To secure the position of the tube to avoid accidents and to guarantee that the bending is correct, there is a safety feature, a handle, lever. The operator should trigger it after inserting the tube into the machine. To make these curves in the tube, the machine has some handlers or levers. These levers are responsible for pushing the tube to make the curves using some rouleau or pushers. The operator only needs to push these levers manually to get the strength for bending. bending and welding machine. The machine studied is provided with manual loading and unloading systems, where the operator only has to order to position the two pipes and the plate in their respective anchorages. Then the machine carries out the bending of the two tubes, and after that, it welds the plate to them. Once the part is finished, the machine picks up the part and brings it into the hopper by using a manipulator. The operator should remove the finished pieces from the hopper. To make these curves in the pipe, the machine has some cylinders. These cylinders are responsible for pushing the tube to make the curves through some rule-in or pushers at the end of the piston rod. Leak tester. The machine studied performs the function of leak tester. The leak tester can check different kinds of hoses with different tools, with double fixture position. The first step is to locate the fixture in checking area, plugging hearting connector, and electrical and pneumatical supply. The tubes will be placed in their workforce and the clamps will be closed to keep them secure. At this point, the sealing test begins. Air has to be inserted to check the level of leakage. If the levels are correct and accepted, the cutting machine will remain motionless. Thus, the tube will not be cut, and the control screen will show that the tube has passed the test correctly. The printer will extract a label, which will be placed on the tube to mark that it has passed the test. Once the label is placed, the tube will be removed from the tools and will be ready to be introduced in a finished drawer. Cleaning valve. This machine achieved control and valves clean through a succession of operations. The first station of the machine is a vibrator. Afterwards, the valve goes to the lung and then is blown and brushed. Finally, a camera checks the valves. Marker. When we want to mark the company's name, the logo, date, or other type of registration, we need to buy a marking machine. A marker is a plate with a place to put the piece to mark. Near, there is a machine to do this registration. There are some different types of markers, automatically, manually, that we can use. At the same time, we can control the route, measures, and other important parameters. Flaring and hammer or stick machine. The machine studied is designed specifically for expand and stick pipes. The machine has a manual loader of parts. The operator can choose between two job options, tweezers and flare, using a selector. The first option will only perform a stick, hammer. In the second option, the machine has to do an expand. Afterwards, a stick, hammer. Once all the modifications are done, the automatic unload is done. Automatic power bender. In case of high volume of production, the machines can be designed with automatic loader, bending system, and unloader, achieving a large autonomy, in addition to a high rate of production. Our machines are designed with standardized elements that allow to make modifications on part geometry. That means you don't have to modify the whole machine. If a product for which the machine has been built becomes obsolete, the machine can be used for another design at 80% in its entirety.